I don't think Robyn's ever lived plural marriage, honestly. Because as soon as she came into the family, even before they got married, I just don't even want to go down the road. It just doesn't help with anything. It just doesn't help with anything.
I really wish Christine would have finished that thought because there's nothing better than hearing the juicy details from someone who really knows. But for whatever reason, Christine stopped herself. And that's just going to have to be okay. And it is okay because we can do the next best thing. So we're going to take a look at the Sister Wives book and some internet resources to figure out how there could be differing opinions about this. Why would Christine say that Robyn has never really lived plural marriage? I wonder, is it possible that they just understand plural marriage differently? I think that's what it is. Spoiler alert. In their book, Becoming Sister Wives, The Story of an Unconventional Marriage, Robyn tells us a little about her upbringing and how she experienced polygamy as a child. I'm going to read what Robyn wrote, but we will eventually need to fill in some gaps that she interestingly left out. So on page 64, Robyn writes, I was raised in a polygamous family in southern Utah. My mother was my father's second wife. Okay, that sounds like polygamy, right? Her mom was the second wife. I think Robyn and Christine would agree that sounds like polygamy. They, meaning her mom and dad, they had a truly wonderful marriage, a honeymoon experience that lasted for years and years. Their relationship was sweet, loving, and respectful. They put their family and their happiness in front of any petty grievance that might crop up. I was determined not to marry unless I could find the same kind of relationship. Now, today, 2023, we know that what Robyn wrote for this book back in 2012, she conveniently left out some of the most important details about her upbringing. So first of all, yeah, Robyn's mom was the second wife, but Robyn doesn't disclose that her dad was actually her mom's second husband, and that who she refers to as her dad was really her stepdad. Now, I know a lot of stepchildren do that. That's not my stepdad, that's my dad. And that's fine. But it's just interesting to notice that this was Robyn's chance to introduce her life, to introduce herself to a new audience. And instead of sharing with us an authentic story, she chose to just cherry pick some facts to make her childhood look good. Okay, now we're going to do something fun. I think we're going to compare Robyn's omission about her stepfather with how Janelle wrote about being raised in a similar situation. I hope this doesn't feel totally off topic, but I do think it'll be helpful to see how Janelle wrote about having a stepfather compared to how Robyn didn't write about it. On page 32 of the book, Janelle writes, my father died when I was 2 years old and my mother remarried, but my stepfather was not a hands-on father. He was distant and emotionally unavailable. Eventually, my mother divorced him. I knew when I got married and had children of my own that I would look for a man who would be intimately engaged in every aspect of our children's lives. Now, if you're interested in Janelle and her fathers and the impact all that situation might have had on her life with Cody, then check the description box. I'm going to try to link to a video that I made about this topic. But for now, let's just be clear that Janelle was being upfront with the audience. It sure reads like that. She didn't come from a perfect household. Her mom had to work to find love. And even as a little girl, Janelle saw that. And she used her mom's experience to help her figure out what she wanted out of life. Of course, we all do that. We all look at our parents and use their lives to help guide us. Either we want to be like them or different from them, but for sure we're influenced by them. And for sure, Robyn was influenced by her parents. All right, let's get back to the original point. Robyn does not identify her dad as her stepdad, which is fine. That's her choice. But it does place her kind of in an inauthentic scene. It's just not true that Robyn was exclusively raised in a polygamous home filled with love and zero conflict. There was conflict. So much so that her mom and biological dad got divorced when Robyn was 9 years old, I think. And you know the internet is amazing and people can find out almost everything about almost everybody. And what I've been able to find out about Robyn's polygamous upbringing is that the first little bit of her life, from birth to how old are you? What grade are you in when you're 9 years old? I think third, fourth grade. Well, from birth to fourth grade or something, She lived with her mom, Alice, and biological dad, Robert. Her parents were in the AUB, the Apostolic United Brethren Church, this fundamentalist Mormon church, but Robert and Alice got divorced. I don't know exactly why, but they got divorced. Robert left the church and got remarried. Alice stayed in the church and became the second wife to Paul Sullivan. Now, Paul is who Robyn was referring to in that passage from the book that I shared earlier. Now, does the fact that Robyn wasn't really in a plural family until she was basically a tween, was that a word back then? No, we weren't tweens then. But anyway, does that really matter? Not really, except that even once Robyn did join a plural family, it was still very, monogamous presenting. Okay, so Alice and Paul got married, and this starts the moment when Robyn lives up close witnessing a plural marriage. Except it kind of doesn't. From what I can tell, Robyn's mom lived happily, hours away from her husband and his first wife. And the argument is that it was because of the distance that Alice could create a marriage that Robyn describes as being a honeymoon experience, one where they can put any petty grievance to the side. Now, some people in online forums have said that Paul spent 1 week with his first wife and their kids, and the second week with Alice and her kids, including Robyn and her siblings, and back and forth like that. 1 week with this family, next week with the next family. Now, I don't know if that detail is true, but it is clear that when Robyn talks about being raised in a plural family, in a plural home, she's not lying, but her experiences of it were so different from what the Browns tried to tell us was the ultimate goal of an effective, loving plural family. And the goal was all of the wives together, all the kids near each other. Of course, when Robyn's parents were younger and raising their kids, they had to be more private about their polygamous family. In a blog post on my Sister Wives Closet, Robyn shared that she didn't tell anyone that her family was polygamous until 7th grade, when she finally told her best friend. But throughout the show, one of the major conflicts, it continues to come up time and time again from season 1 to season now, is the proximity of all the wives to each other. Whether they were going to be hours apart, sharing the same house, across town from each other, or building homes right next door, the physical distance between the wives has always been one of the biggest sources of conflict in their relationships, at least on the show. And this might lead us to believe that living plural marriage in the way that the Browns advocate for means that the wives should be close to each other. Or maybe more specifically, the wives should be close to each other so that the children can be close to each other. To me, it's kind of interesting to find out that Robyn did not grow up like that. In fact, it was kind of the opposite. Also, I feel like I'm giving a little bit too many details about Robyn's childhood, but I think it might be worth it because I just want to make it clear that Robyn was not lying. She was telling the truth. She was raised by polygamous parents, but also Christine is right. Robyn did not grow up experiencing the kind of polygamy the Browns said they wanted for their family. And in a lot of ways, I think Robyn was not equipped to help make this dream of a family come true because just like Christine said, Robyn has never experienced it before. So not only did Robyn not really grow up in a plural family witnessing the intricacies of a plural marriage in the way that the Browns wanted to replicate, but to Christine's point, Robyn didn't really even live plural marriage once she joined the Brown family. I mean, can you remember a moment in the show? This is not a hypothetical question. Really, tell me. Can you remember a moment in the show, season 1 to season 18, when Robyn had to tell her kids, oh, Dayton, Aurora, Brianna, Solomon, Ariella, your father can't be here because he's taking care of the other kids? Have you ever seen that happen? And yet, that seems to be one of the critical conflicts that exist within a plural marriage. These fundamental issues that come up in plural families, have we ever really seen Robyn struggle with them? The only challenge that I've seen has been the poor relationships that she has with the other sister wives, and that's kind of like her and Cody's fault. Okay, I'm going to pause here and hopefully we'll get to continue this conversation in another time. But I have to be honest, y'all, it's a beautiful day here. It's about to be really super hot this weekend. And so I want to enjoy a little bit of this day with my family before the day totally gets away from me. But I did want to have this conversation with you, at least get it started. Okay, what do you think about the fact that Christine said that Robyn has really never lived plural marriage before? I feel like it's a clear argument that Robyn tries to convince us that she was raised within this polygamous culture. And I think, yes, she was. But her experience of it was very different from what the Browns had established for their family. And so there was going to be conflict because what Robyn experienced was not what the family was trying to work towards. And we see how that's worked out for them. And then we get to this idea that she didn't experience plural marriage even once she joined the Brown family. And again, I think Christine is right. When Robyn joined the family, she was really living in a monogamous relationship, maybe just kind of bothered by the other three wives and their kids. And it was just destined to fail from the very beginning. Sadness all around, but let me know what you think about this. Do you think Christine was right? Has Robyn lived plural marriage? Is it possible that plural marriage can mean something different to two wives and they be in the same family and coexist? I don't know, you guys. These are interesting questions, big questions to think about as we try to consider, as always, trying to make sense of the nonsense, all the nonsense that the Brown family puts us through when we watch them. I'm going to keep watching them because that's what I love to do. And I think maybe you love to do it too. If you're at this point in this video, you probably love it too. So we are going to, yes, continue the conversation in the comments. Maybe I'll take my phone outside and we can comment out there. Or we're just going to meet each other in the next video where we're going to keep talking about this family because they have so much going on. It's wild, but it's interesting, right? Okay. Thanks for being here. Take care. Bye.